I'm Littlefoot. This is Sonic Adventure 2 Mech Levels, and today we ask the question, is that good game design? Once again, I am not making a value judgment on whether or not it is a good thing that these mech levels are in a Sonic game at all. People got a lot of thoughts about that. I got a lot of thoughts about that. I think a lot of these levels shouldn't be in the game, but that's not what we're answering today. Once again, we're going to be zeroing in on that level design, that stage design specifically. So what does good game design look like in this context? Well, a well-designed level is going to harmonize with the tools that the player has been given. The tools that the player has been given are the offensive capabilities of the mech. That's the laser that locks on and fires off into the enemies, as well as the Vulcan cannon, and also the movement of the mechs. Movement, I mean, for whatever that's worth. They move, so it's there. So in contrast to the treasure hunting levels, which has a lot more going on with the radar, the movement of Knuckles and Rouge, the mechs are a lot simpler in their design, and the stage goal is a lot simpler as well. The mech levels are actually, on paper, very similar to just the Sonic and Shadow levels. It's get from the start of the level to the end of the level. And so, as a result of that, I think that good level design is going to manifest in a lot simpler ways than it did with those treasure hunting levels. So let's get into it. The first level we have is Iron Gate, and I'm going to give this one good game design, so let's break it down. Honestly, it just feels good to run through this level and just blow up a bunch of robots. I mean, as the mech, that I think is what is the most fun thing to do. Run through stage, blow up a bunch of robots. It's simple, the mechs are simple, everybody's happy, we're all happy. Good job, Sega, good job, Sonic Team. So I think one of the most deceptively simple things about the mech and the mech levels is actually the lock-on system and the way that it interacts with the points. So if you blow up one robot, you lock onto the robot, you blow it up, you get 100 points. That's great. But now let's say you lock onto like 3 robots. You get 300 points, 100 points for each of those robots, but you also get an additional 200 points if you lock onto all of them at the same time and blow them all up at the same time. Basically, you're able to increase your score by quite a significant margin based on how many robots you blow up at the same time, which means that groups of robots are really important because they give you a lot more score. This is kind of the central hidden, but not the hidden mechanic of these mech levels that I think elevates a lot of them and really detracts from a lot of other levels. And Iron Gate has a lot of groups of enemies. Usually they're smaller groups, 4, maybe 5 robots, but it's fun to walk into a room, and you lock onto all of them, you blow them all up, you get the score, and then a little thing pops up and it's like, great, 400 points, and then Dr. Eggman goes like, whoa. Like, that's great, that's fun. This stage also has an elevator section where you get on an elevator and then you just kind of get taken along on this sort of on rails sort of section where there's a bunch of enemies around you and you want to line them all up and blow them up and get as much points as you can. Because you're moving and because the lock-on only lasts for a certain amount of time, there's a really interesting risk and reward gameplay going on in this section, where basically you want to lock onto as many enemies as possible to get as high of a score as you can on the bonus score, but also if you hold on for too long, you're going to lose all of your points because either your lock-on stops because it hits a timer, or the enemies literally move outside of the range of your laser and then you're done, you're cooked. Really interesting risk-reward mechanic. I like it a lot, and it's taken further in other levels, which we'll get to later. Also, the theming of this level is excellent. I think what makes these mech levels so fun is making the player feel like they are unstoppable, and this level does that excellently. You're Dr. Eggman, you're breaking into this like secure facility, you're blowing up like a million robots. You also get to blow up the doors that are like blocking your progress. I just think is a really cool little detail that this level adds. Instead of just being like, okay, you blow up the robots, you go to the next room, it's like, no, there's a door there and you blow up the door to continue breaking into this facility. It's awesome, it rocks. This level is short and sweet, it's nothing crazy, but I think it's a really great introduction to the mech levels going forward. Next up, we got Prison Lane, and I'm going to give this one good game design, but I'm going to be kind of harsh. Honestly, I think this might be the worst good level. So this is the companion level to Iron Gate, and there's a lot of similar theming here. Just like Eggman was breaking into a secure facility, Tails is breaking into prison, he's busting out Sonic, Eggman's unknowingly busting out Shadow. There's like some narrative parallels there. Ooh, it's kind of cool. But I think ultimately this stage feels like a worse version of Iron Gate. One sort of gimmicky mechanic that this stage has is that instead of blowing up the doors to get to the next room like in Iron Gate, you have to blow up all the enemies in like a vicinity or in the room that you're in order for the doors to open. And it's not as satisfying. I mean, effectively, it's pretty similar because, you know, you're going to blow everything up anyway. But this stage kind of does some annoying things where they'll like hide an enemy in a corner and like you have to like jump up on this like elevating thing to like shoot it and you're never going to see it, and then the door opens. It slows down gameplay. It's just not as fun. It's not as succinct as there's a door there, I'm going to blow it up because I'm an unstoppable mech. It's just better, and this one is just not as good. Also, this stage begins a really annoying trend that these mech stages have where they just throw enemies at you out of nowhere. Like, enemies will just come out of nowhere, fly by, and shoot you. And it's like so annoying. For the most part in this stage, it's just kind of a mild annoyance, but it becomes worse later on. And this stage is kind of where that trend starts. I will say though, ending the stage, awesome moment. You're looking into the room with the gold ring. There's a bunch of enemies. You line them all up. You blow them all up. The door opens. That was a great moment. So I can't fault this stage too much. They do build towards some cool things. Okay, so next up we got Sand Ocean, and this one is bad game design. This might be the worst mech level. So this stage introduces mech platforming, which I hate. These mechs are not built to platform. The jumps are like really tiny. The way that you gain speed is really awkward as well. Platforming with the mechs is not fun, especially at this point in the game where you don't have the jet engine upgrade yet, so you can't even hover. It's awful. Platforming on this stage in particular is really annoying because there's like insta-kill quicksand everywhere. Like it's Mario 64 or something. Like, I don't know why they thought that was fun. They're like, yeah, if you're gonna platform, if you're gonna miss the platform, you're gonna die instantly. Like, why is it such a harsh punishment for platforming with these horrible, dinky, like, I don't like it. The mechs just don't control tightly enough to make platforming like this fun. They got too small of jumps, the momentum's weird, and the way that the platforming in this stage in particular works leads to a lot of waiting, because you gotta wait for like the platforms to line up so you can jump from one to another. There's these like spinning platforms that you gotta wait for, and stuff like this. It's never fun. Waiting is never fun in a game, and this stage makes you wait a lot. Now, I will say a lot of the platforming problems, especially in this stage, are actually mitigated by the introduction of the jet engine upgrade later. Being able to hover past a lot of these platforms makes it so that you just don't have to wait and you can just go from one to another. But even so, like, it's not fun. It's just the platforming doesn't add anything, and the first playthrough of this level sucks so bad every time. The other elements of the stage are not very strong either. There's not really any moments where you get to line up a bunch of enemies and explode them. I will say the one thing that I really like about this stage is that they have these like giant pillars that you like blow up the bottom of, and then they like fall down and they make a bridge for you to walk across. I think that's super cool. It's like that one scene in Atlantis where he like knocks over the pillar and he's like, took me like 10 seconds. It's great. I wish the stage had more of that instead of let's wait for this platform to get here to get me across. One of those is a really cool way to show progression, and the other one is something you just have to wait for and it sucks. So, bad job, Sand Ocean. Bad job. Alright, next up we got Mission Street, and I'm going to give this one bad game design. We got two stinkers in a row. Although I would say this is probably the best bad level. So this level gives you the booster upgrade, which is required to progress in this stage and through the rest of the game, which is already a good thing. But I have a little nitpick here, which is that for whatever reason at the start of the stage or right before you get the booster upgrade, there's this part with this like falling bridge, and you can go across the falling bridge because it doesn't fall fast enough and progress through the level skipping over the booster upgrade until eventually you hit a part of the level where you can't progress anymore. But like, why did they do that? Like, why did they put like a branching path? This is like the only branching path in any of these mech levels, and it skips over a required upgrade. Like, why did they do that? Like as a kid, I remember being like, oh yeah, I gotta get across this bridge, you know, and that's how I played through the level. And then I like couldn't beat the level. I was like, I don't know why I did that. This is minor nitpick though, minor nitpick. Okay, so that's not why this stage is bad. I think the real reason that this stage is bad is, again, they just kind of throw enemies at you from nowhere. Like, the enemies just kind of descend from the heavens, they fall down on you and you take damage. And it's just annoying. It's like, how am I gonna react to that? You know, like, what are you doing? You also have these like fighter jets that fly by and they shoot like missiles at you from out of nowhere, which, like, okay, I can't even like blow those up, so what's the point of that? Also, like, the literal stage falls on you on certain parts of this stage. Like, you can't blow up this stage parts. Like, you just get hit or you get out of the way. You either have to wait or you have to go fast enough because you know it's coming. I don't know why they did that. It's like, why are you just dropping stuff on me for no reason? Also, there is platforming in this level, and there's these like rising and falling pillars, which are just annoying. You know, even though you have the booster upgrade and it makes a lot of the platforming not as bad, you still have to wait for these platforms to go up and down to get onto the next one. And it's like, why are you making me platform in a mech, man? This sucks. I will say though, the theming on this stage is once again excellent. If there's one thing that they really nail in a lot of these mech levels, it is that theming. You're just running through a bunch of police officers and robots, blowing everything up, trying to escape. I think it's great. I think it's awesome. I think it did really well with that. Alright, next up we got Lost Colony. And this stage, I'm giving like, this is like mid-game design. I'm gonna go bad. I'm gonna go bad just to pick something. This is actually like the most mid-level of all time. This is the most nothing burger of a level ever. It feels like filler. This level feels like filler. So, okay, one good thing about this stage, they give you the jet engine upgrade. So that's good. Platforming sucks less now. And this level also has this gimmick where, like, if you blow up a robot, you know, the lights turn on, but it's actually pretty easy to miss. Like, I think in my first few times playing through this, I didn't really notice that. I was like, oh, okay. Like, I was just blowing up enemies, and it's not like the visibility was really a problem anyway. There's one good thing I can say about this level is it does have, like, an elevator riding section, which, again, introduces that risk-reward system. How many enemies do I want to blow up? How long do I want to hold this before I fire? So that's good. But yeah, this level had me questioning like the mech level's existence at all. Like, I was playing through this and I was like, is this like fun? Like, there's nothing, you know, bad about this level. There's nothing offensive about it. But it's just not like, I'm just kind of moving from point A to point B. Not even a lot of adversity that exists. I don't know. I don't really feel like this level needed to exist, and kind of had me thinking like maybe none of these levels needed to exist. I just felt like I was kind of playing through it just to get to the next level, and if that's how you feel when you're playing through a level, it's not a good sign. Alright, the next level is Hidden Base, and I am gonna give this one a good game design, which is crazy. I think historically this has been one of my least favorite levels of the game, but it's grown on me, and I never expected that. Okay, so there's like some platforming in this level. There is still insta-kill quicksand, which, you know, I guess they're trying to be consistent with the Eggman stage. I feel like they still shouldn't have put it in, but that's just me. But yeah, honestly, this level is not as bad as I remember it. There's like plenty of enemies to shoot, sections where you can line a lot of them up. There's these cool set pieces of these like giant platforms on these pillars, and you blow up the pillars and then they fall down to progress. I thought that was pretty cool. And one cool detail that I noticed, which, you know, I feel kind of dumb for never noticing this before, but halfway through the level, the gun robots switch into Eggman robots, which I think is really cool. Because again, there's a lot of gun robots outside of Eggman's base in the Sand Ocean stage to kind of prevent him from getting in. And so when you start going towards Eggman's base, there's a bunch of gun robots. But then halfway through, you get close enough to his base where they're replaced by his robots. Because now that they're the robots like defending his base, I don't know, I thought it's a sick little detail that I somehow have never noticed, because I don't pay attention when I play these levels, because I'm just trying to get through them most of the time. One nitpick of this stage is that in the middle of this stage, there's kind of these closed rooms where you have to do a little bit of platforming and hold on to the like handlebar things, and the camera's just not great in any of these areas. That feels more like a camera issue than a stage design issue, but it's still there, and it's always kind of awkward to maneuver through those areas. So I just want to bring that up, I guess. There's also this part in the stage where there's these like blocks that you have to like shoot a bunch to get through. And at first I was thinking like, oh yeah, that's like bad game design because it's like slowing you down. but it's like, it's kind of cool to like blow them up and like make a path through everything. I don't know. I kind of liked it this time. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. I feel like there's some like Cat Mario game design going on in levels like these, where it's like, you know, they'll like drop enemies on you, or you'll like go into a new area and there's 2 enemies that are getting ready to shoot you, and like the first time you play the level you're like, oh my god, well, how was I supposed to see that coming, right? But then like now that I've played it enough, I kind of like it, like, because I know what's coming up. I don't know, maybe I have Stockholm Syndrome with this particular level, but I kind of like it now for whatever that's worth, so good job, Hidden Base. So next up we got Weapons Bed, and I'm going to give this one good game design. I actually think this stage rocks. I feel like Sonic Team finally figured it out. They figured out how to make a good mech level, and this is how you make a good mech level. You put a bunch of robots for me to blow up and get a crazy high score. It's awesome. There's a bunch of these unactivated gun robots that are just sitting around the stage in certain parts, and you can just like line all of them up and blow them up and get like a crazy score. I also think the theming and the game feel for this stage is awesome. I mean, the narrative has you set up as Dr. Eggman going onto this military base and just blowing everybody up as like a distraction, and it's so cool. When I'm playing this game, I'm like, I am Dr. Eggman, and I am just owning the military right now, and it feels great. I will say this stage does have enemies fall from the heavens to smite you just randomly, but that's pretty much the only problem that I have with this stage. I think everything about this stage and its design is excellent. There's not really a whole lot of platforming in this stage. It just gets straight to the good stuff, which is blowing up a bunch of guys and just destroying anything that gets in your way, and I think that is awesome. It's a really simple concept, and this level executes on that expertly. Great level. Weapons Bed, great level. Next up we got Eternal Engine, and I'm gonna give this one bad game design. This one again is far from the worst stage, but I think in a lot of ways it's similar to Lost Colony. There's a little bit more going on, but some of that more is actually things that make the stage worse. So I think this stage has some of the most egregious examples of enemies just coming out of nowhere and just like killing you. Like that happens so much in this stage. And even some of the enemies, like, they don't come out of nowhere. They'll just be like behind a door and they like instantly snipe you with their like long blue freaky arms, and it sucks. Why what am I supposed to do about that? Like, if the door opened to a room and there's a bunch of enemies and I had like a few seconds or even a second to like assess all the enemies and all the threats and then like start blasting, I think that's fine. The problem is that the enemy comes out of nowhere, you have no time to assess the threat, and then it shoots you and it's gone before you can do anything. That's the issue that this stage has. One of the gimmicks of this stage is that there's like explosives on the floor and on the walls, and if you blow them up, then like it, you know, opens up the vacuum of space and you can get like sucked out. I think this is a really interesting concept because, you know, what it's trying to do is it's trying to make the player be more intentional and more careful with how and when and where they shoot. Which again, interesting concept, but the way it kind of plays out is that sometimes you just blow up the floor and then you either get sucked out and you die, or you have to take like a really annoying detour around it. And it's also trying to stop the player from doing the thing that is most fun in mech levels, which is lining up a bunch of enemies and shooting them. Like, you have now put something in the stage that makes a player not want to do the most fun thing in a mech level. So this is not a good idea. There's not much else to say about this stage. There are some parts where you do get to have that fun feeling of lining up a bunch of enemies and blowing them up, but it's just not a lot. There's also like a boss fight, like kind of a mini boss fight at the end of this level, which is pretty underwhelming. I don't know, that's how I would describe this level. Underwhelming, kind of frustrating, and it's not great. The final mech stage is Cosmic Wall, and I'm going to give this one good game design. In fact, I think this is the best mech stage, hands down. They saved the best for last. You get to just go through, you get to shoot a bunch of enemies. There's some on-rails sections where you just get to line up so many guys and just blow them all up for a crazy score. Oh, it's so good. And unlike with Eternal Engine, where they're just throwing enemies at you like from the side, this stage for the most part has all the enemies on the screen already. And if anything, with those on-rails sections, they're moving you towards these big clumps of enemies, which I think is just a much better enemy placement strategy. And I think the element of the mech's design that is shown off the most in this stage is actually that risk and reward system of how long you lock onto enemies before you fire to get points. With these on-rails sections, you're going in, there's like 20 enemies, you try and line up as many as you can, they're moving off screen before you can get them, but also your timer's running out of how long you can lock on, you're trying to get as many points as possible. Oh, it's so fun to just see how high of a score you can get with that risk-reward system. Feels like you're just gambling over and over again, but it's like skillful gambling. Also, this stage has a gimmick where everything is low gravity, and I think it has a really cool interaction with the jet engine where instead of just hovering everywhere, you actually gain height from the jet engine. And there is platforming in this stage, but the platforming in this stage is actually kind of fun. I mean, first of all, there's no like instant death pits, so like if you miss a jump or whatever, you don't die, you just, okay, you go back to the last jump, which is how it should be. And second of all, because you gain height with those jet boosters, you have a lot more freedom in approaching the way that you choose to platform around this stage, which is great. It's awesome. They figured it out. I think not only is this level well designed, but it's actually really well paced. The way that they move you from set piece to set piece. Here's a section where you're going through and killing a bunch of enemies. Alright, now you're on a on-rails section where you get to line up and get a bunch of points. Alright, here's a little platforming section. Okay, back to an on-rails section. Oh, it's great. It's awesome. And it makes this level, which is really long, actually feel pretty sharp and not too long at all. This level is great. It's a masterpiece. I wish every single mech level was like this because I have so much fun every single time I play this level. But at least they gave us one gem in the midst of all the other levels. Some of them are good. I don't know. So for some closing thoughts, honestly, I thought I was gonna like hate every single level, give every single level bad game design, except for like, well, Cosmic Wall, obviously, and like maybe Weapons Bed. But actually, I liked it a lot more than I thought I was, and I think a lot of these levels are better than I remember them being. I came into this pretty biased against the mech levels. With a treasure hunting video, I already like all of the treasure hunting levels, so I was willing to be more gracious with them, and I think I was actually harsher on a lot of them than I thought. Whereas with the mech levels, I went into it not liking them, but came out having a greater appreciation for a lot of the elements of design that were in these stages. So anyway, that's what I got. Hope you enjoyed this two-part series. I'm not making one on the Sonic and Shadow levels, because I don't care. I don't know. If you liked the video, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. I want to get into some debates in the comment section, actually. If you're like, actually, I think this level sucks, or actually, I think this level is a masterpiece, or anything in between, or if you just want to agree and like glaze me, that's great too. I'll take those comments too. But let's start a fight in the comments. Like, come on, this game is so divisive. I know how divisive this game is. Start arguing. Go now.